the room. He's old enough to see a man get shot. Get the gun. It was like, I just remember.
How old were you?
I was 9.
And your brother was how old?
My brother was 11.
And what's his name?
Steve.
Stephen and
Smartest
Alan
guy in the world.
Really?
Yeah. He got up on bike, first time up, got up on water skis at 12, made model rockets, blasted them off. At 18, he flew solo in an airplane. You know, I was nothing.
What's he do now?
I was nothing. He's a businessman, retired. He's a great golfer, great guy.
Nice.
I when I was a kid, I'd whack off with my left hand, roll into a lamp, and get a concussion. You know, I mean, my dad would walk into the room, look at the lamp, and my lamp, and goes, "What'd you do? Try to jerk off with your left hand?" I mean, my brother was so coordinated and so superior to me. I was just a goofball.
You have to I hope that's in your act, or if not,
it's not in the act, but it's part of the one-man show.
That line has to be in your stand-up. It's too great. Dude, were you aware at the time that your parents were dialed in to the stuff going on around you? Or I guess when it's happening.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you just say that's the way it is.
Was he into like local politics too?
No. I mean, he was really into reading. I remember one time the TV broke. My parents didn't make a lot of money. Yeah, and so that's it. For the next year and a half, we just read books.
Because the television broke.
My dad didn't want to get it fixed. They'd rather smoke. My parents loved to smoke. We lived in Miami. We had no air conditioning.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like living in Seattle without a roof. It was horrible. It was a nightmare, but as a kid,
Give me another city. Give me another analogy. Give me one more. Give me one more. Come on.
It's like living in San Francisco without a cock. How's that?
I think that's why my balls are getting smaller.
Yeah,
I told you I'd figure that shit out.
But your soul is getting larger.
My soul's getting...
It's that spiritual jism that leaves the balls. Because you already have 2 kids.
Spiritual jism.
You know what that glowing orb of God said? You know what? Jay has 2 children. He's got 2 small dogs. Doesn't need all that sperm. Let's take it back.
Don't you think kids, isn't that eternal life?
What?
When you die, what's your father's name? Charlie?
Charlie
Havey died. Alan Havey sitting here talking about Charlie Havey. I now have Charlie Havey. There's 250,000 people right now picturing your dad. He's alive now in that moment. That's eternal. When you have kids, you are punching your card for eternal
But there's some
life.
guy out there not doing a podcast whose father was like 10 times greater than my dad.
Right.
You know, but he doesn't
and
have
he's
eternal
telling
life.
his buddies down at the TGI Fridays.
Is that eternal life?
I think it is.
Okay. That's interesting. Is it interesting?
Then the buddy goes and tells another friend, like, I heard a funny story about Mike's dad.
Yeah. And so it's not a statue. It's not Abraham Lincoln or, well, of course, people
because
still
that
talk
you have to go visit. You can't carry it around with you.
Yeah. All right.
I would like to meet the guy that carries the Lincoln Memorial around with him.
I'll volunteer. You know, when they bury the Lincoln Memorial, I'll help lower it into the ground. How's that?
Alan, I want you to be a pallbearer for the Lincoln Memorial.
No, sorry. Didn't know the guy.
When they tore down Yankee Stadium, they asked you to be a pallbearer for the Loge.
No, not going to do it. Hate Yankee Stadium.
Fucking hate those motherfuckers.
No, I love the Yankees.
I used to love the Yankees until they tore down Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
When you tell me that the Yankees are going to tear down Yankee Stadium to make more money, then I go,
they tore it down back in the 70s, late 60s.
They rebuilt it.
Yeah, but
it's still the same piece of... Where Bernie Williams stood is where Mickey Mantle stood is where Joe DiMaggio stood. And then they tear that shit down to build a replica next door that's just a mall where you can have fucking Models and a Del Taco and sell a whole bunch
Did you go to the new Yankee Stadium?
I will not.
I went to a playoff game.
I heard it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really it's
I heard,
it's
but I won't
great.
Go. And you know
great.
what? It's easy to not go because it's in the fucking Bronx, where there's no real reason to ever set foot in the Bronx unless there's a Yankee game.
Have you been to Citi Field? Have you been out to the Mets?
I have not, but I would like to go just to watch Mets fans suffer.
Now, your wife was raised in Florissant?
No, she was raised in Santa Monica.
Okay. So do you ever go back to St. Louis?
Not really. I haven't been back since that time.
You should go back. Go catch a Cardinal game.
I'm going to Kansas City for the All-Star game.
Best fans in the world.
No doubt about it.
In St. Louis.
Absolutely no doubt about it. And you guys are in fucking first place without Albert. Scoreboard.
It's nice. It's just a spirit there.
Steven Strasburg and Albert Pujols, I believe, have the same amount of doubles.
Well, I'm not in the business of baseball, Jay.
Oh.
You didn't know that, did you?
Well, let me look at my...
Yeah.
Alan... Oh,
yeah.
my God. I thought you were Jack Buck. I thought you were Joe Buck. I have no emotion whatsoever. There's a catch by Tyree. First down Giants. The drive stays alive. They could win the Super Bowl with the next play.
You want Scully to stick around another year?
I want Scully to be 40 years old, and I want the rest of my life with Vin Scully.
Now, here's the thing. I think someday there's going to be something on your television where when you're watching a baseball game, you can push a button and hear any announcer, living or dead.
They're right there.
And the computer will read what the play is, and it'll be Vin Scully's voice telling you what's going on.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Now, as a St. Louis fan, you had Jack Buck.
Yeah, but I didn't live in St. Louis.
But now Vin Scully, you realize he is the greatest.
Oh, Vin Scully. This town, L.A., had Chick Hearn and Vin Scully.
And the guy from the Kings is bananas, too.
I don't watch hockey. I was raised in Miami. I'm not into hockey.
Vin Scully these are my favorite Vin Scullyisms I heard. He was doing a golf tournament, and a guy hit his tee shot into the ocean in Hawaii. And nothing. Nothing. Just minutes. And they cut to the guy in the fairway dropping a ball, and then they cut to the ocean, and Vin Scully says, "Buried like a deep, dark secret." That motherfucker didn't say ball or water.
Right.
That's a different breed of announcer.
Yeah, he's great.
7 out of the 9 Astros starters' last name begin with the letter B. And we've got quite a hive here tonight, friends, with Bogart, Biggio, Bagwell, and he read them off.
Wow.
And my favorite one is...
That's homework.
Jeremy Guthrie's father sold cars in Medford, Oregon, and there's a Cadillac at the belt for strike one. Ridiculous.
I was at my dentist in Beverly Hills, and I'm walking out, and there's Scully getting onto an elevator.
What?
Yeah. And I see him get on the elevator, and I stand outside the elevator, and I just look and I say, "Mr. Scully, I just want to thank you for everything you've done for baseball." And he looked at me and goes, "Well, aren't you nice?" And then I said, "I'm a Cardinal fan." He goes, "That's okay." And then the doors closed, and that was it.
That's a good Scully you do, man.
Yeah. It was all
Your
right.
Scully's way better than mine. It's close to Alan Alda.
Wow. I don't do Alan Alda.
I like when Ben Scully said, "Chad Billingsley threw 18 pitches in the first inning, and friends, he's up to his elbows in alligators here in the second."
By the way, if you need a Vin Scully, I got a guy for you.
David Gee?
Yes.
Amazing. We've talked about him and that and his Alan Alda right here.
Oh, the Alan Alda is amazing, too, but the Scully thing. And the Nicholson, he does the best, Jack Nicholson.
Does he pull his hair back?
No, he doesn't have to.
You ever see when guys that are bald pull their hair back?
Yeah.
They've seen comics pull their hair back to do Nicholson.
Or they've been doing the joke for so long. They used to do the joke when they had hair.
Hey, man.
You ever met Nicholson?
No.
You should have him. Huh? No. Oh, I met a
Now you're going to be like Koppelman. You should have him on the podcast. Look, everyone is invited on the podcast.
I met a Nick game 20 years ago, and I'm usually very cool around celebrities. I don't bother people. I had Bob Dylan walk right by me.
I'll have it like a Joe's. Green Street, the big room.
I never say anything to the guy. My girlfriend hit him on the head once at the time, but I don't want to get into that. But I see Nicholson leaving a Nick game. He was there, and I lean over the rail, and he goes, "Jack!" Like a fucking Bobby Soxer. And he put my hand out, and he slapped it. But it was like, it was Nicholson.
Like catching the punter running into the tunnel.
Yeah, it was just like, I felt like a 12-year-old kid chasing Larry Zonka. Chin strap, you know.
Zonk. Put that on my tab. All right, so Eddie Brill. We're rounding third here. Go see Alan Havey. First of all, he's going to be on Louis this season on FX, the Louis C.K. show.
July 5th, they're going to...
On July 5th.
The week I do the Borgata on stage, that's when they're going to have the episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so check them out. Let's just pick a day. July 1st, go see Alan Havey at the Borgata. It's a really great place to go see a show. You gamble, you have a good time. There's a Starbucks in the casino. What more could you want?
Yeah, nothing.
So Eddie Brill booked the Tonight Show, does this piece for the New York Times. They follow him around. And the person that did the piece wrote basically an article saying that Eddie Brill only books white Midwest comics, and he eschews female comedians. And he uses a quote that Eddie used out of context. And the quote that Eddie said was, "It's hard for female comics to be themselves. It's harder." I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
Which is probably the wrong time to paraphrase when I'm sticking up for a guy. He said this. And I'm paraphrasing, of course. But basically, Eddie said female comics aren't genuine because there's such a guy business that they have to like ramp up the testosterone to get over, and it's harder for them to be themselves. It's far and few between where you just get a gal like a Wendy. He didn't say this, but like Wendy Liebman is Wendy Liebman.
Wendy Liebman's great.
She's incredible, and she is all woman.
She's one of the best comedians working today.
Absolutely, one of the best writers by far.
Oh my God!
And she's all woman. There's no testosterone. Like that is a gal on stage crushing it.
Yeah.
So this guy,
and she talks about being a woman. She doesn't like pull out the same stereotypical things that women go to, especially when they're starting out. You know, like dating and stuff like that. I mean,
back
it's
me
all
up, ladies. Back me
yeah.
up. So basically, the article was that he only books white comics that are guys because he has a problem with this. And
Well, that's what I liked about Eddie.
You're an asshole.
I mean, the black guys are getting all the attention, and the women.
And you're tired of being white.
I am so tired
If you
of being
could be
white.
a black woman, Alan Havey really would be happy.
Oh, my God.
Come on, girl.
And I think my wife would even like it.
You know what? I like your wife too, baby. How come you don't like horses no more?
I also do a seminar for college kids going into the business, going into theater, going
Where's
into
that
show
at?
business. That's I've done it at several colleges.
AlanHavey.com?
AlanHavey.com. You can go to curtainupseminar.com. It's something I developed over the years. I've asked many people in the business those first 2 years out of college what worked for you and what didn't work for you. And so I put all this information. And I've asked everybody. So if you want to send me an email.
I would love it.
And just think about what worked for you those first 2 years you were trying to get into the business and what worked against you. And just give me your thoughts on that. And I go out and I share that information.
You know what worked against me my whole life? Me.
Well, we're our own biggest enemies. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard that at the homilies.
Eddie Brill
at
lost
St.
his job
Monica's.
because people said he doesn't like female comedians, and he's always been a champion of all comedians. And in that case, it was unfortunate because a good guy got fucked.
Yeah.
And this
But-
New York Times person took down one of the good guys.
But Eddie, even said I shouldn't have done the article. I should have asked permission for it. And he did say in the article, I wonder what you feel about this, that Eddie Murphy was not funny. Or Eddie Murphy wasn't a good comedian.
But if Eddie Brill doesn't think Eddie Murphy's funny, why can't that just be Eddie Brill's opinion? Why does it
No,
have
I'm
to
just
be-
curious because Eddie Murphy was a hero of yours. I'm just curious as to what.
He was a hero of mine when I was a teenager.
No,
when
I-
you watch these specials now, a lot of the shit we thought was Steve Martin with an arrow through his head is fucking retarded. It's not funny at all. At all. There is no comedic value to a Steve Martin concert back. The albums, no. Wait. I know what you're going to say. The albums, yes. Brilliant. But him going on stage at the Hollywood Bowl with an arrow through his head going, hey. And everyone's going batshit because they're on fucking Quaaludes.
No. It was hysterical. I saw him at Florida State.
And you were high on Quaaludes.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't stoned at all.
You don't understand. I was there in your body.
No, you were there. You were a little peeking out of the crib.
How dare you assume my parents put me in a crib?
They didn't? Then you were abused.
Skinner box.
Skinner? Wow.
I was
Sorry to hear
raised in
that.
a Skinner box.
What is a Skinner box?
Todd, you don't know BF Skinner?
What did I ask? Why did I fucking ask?
You asked me.
Why did I fucking ask what's a Skinner box?
I'm gonna fucking tell you what the fucking thing is. You
Ow!
frickin'- a Skinner box. That's what she calls it.
Saw Steve Martin in '76, a dark suit, play at the Ruby Diamond Auditorium at Florida State. Went there, laughed for an hour and 20 minutes. It was sick with laughter. My body ached with it. It was unbelievable.
If you're telling me I'm wrong,
You're wrong.
well, you know what? Then I owe Steve Martin an apology. I'm being completely serious, and I'm going to look on the internet for times when you know what? I love when he did Carson did stand up for the dogs.
Yeah. No, Steve Martin
Those
was.
fucking dogs barked on cue like they were laughing. Oh my god!
You watch his moments on Carson. I mean, you can't go back and see him live back then. I'm telling you, it was unbelievable. And it wasn't at the Hollywood Bowl. It's huge. So,
Hey.
But this was like a maybe 2,500 seat room. It was fucking great. He was unbelievable.
You got to come back in the podcast.
I
because
love
there's
to.
so much we have not talked about because we get sidetracked.
And,
With
I
my
haven't
call-
seen you in a long time. So
with
this
my
is all.
calling.
I didn't know you had kids.
Yeah.
Let alone dogs.
Yeah, two
you know.
kids.
And
two
now you're a
dogs.
Catholic?
Yeah.
You want to go to Mass? You want me to go to Mass with you one day? Do you go to Mass alone?
I always go by myself.
Okay.
I always go completely alone, and I go dressed as a Hasidic Jew.
That would be fun.
And I have a baby carriage, and I fill it with puppies. and I just sit and see who asks.
Now, are you being funny?
No, that's how I go. And my balls are getting
No,
smaller.
you don't. You don't go with the wife.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of time, like Sundays, I'll let her sleep in.
You like to get up early and go?
Oh, I never like to get up early at all. But when a baby's crying, if you don't get up, then they take that baby from you.
But
It's really what I've noticed.
But don't you find though that when you do get up early, it's kind of nice because we're not used to getting.
It's the magic hour.
Yeah, it's beautiful out.
It's incredible. When
Yeah.
you get up in Manhattan to get like a 7 a.m. flight and you get up at 4 and you go, I'm just going to the deli and I'll get a new